since we started this leadership quest, we get asked many times, but if I'm working in a very hectic job and with a lot of pressures, how is this going to help me as a leader? What would you say to that?
Yeah, it's really because we answer everything from our head, and we really want to have, everything needs to be measured. You know, we need to have numbers to prove that something is efficient, something's working. So even if we want to introduce a new model, the first question we're asked, well, what is the success rate? What is the ROI, return on investment? Everything needs to be measured. And really what we're trying to see now, and I think what the world is striving towards, is more this way of leading with intuition, that inner wisdom, that the rest will come, as long as it's done in a way that's really congruent, aligned with our core values. And I think that's the big thing as well. We're so disconnected from our core values. Forget even core values of the company that we're working for or an environment we're in. We're disconnected from our own core values. So how can we even connect with somebody else's if we don't know who we are, or we don't know what's important to us as individuals?
Yes, so then it's no wonder people feeling lost also within themselves. Yes. And in the organizations, yes. Right? And you said something very important about the intuitive quality and the intuitive intelligence that is so important for really good leadership. And I found that in the businesses and organizations that we've worked with, those who really thrive and bring forth that thriveability also for others, they have this like magical quality. And people can't quite name sometimes what it is, but somehow things are aligned, things are coherent, congruent. And what we said, of course, is that with the leadership quest, it's exactly this quality, that's the magical quality, it's this success factor, but in a really deep integral way, and based on these core values that we're supporting. Is there anything else you would like to say to that?
I think it is magic. I think it's that sort of the fine-tuning of our frequencies. We're all vibrational beings, so when we are in our true values and we're aligned with our core values and we show up congruent with our soul's purpose, it's almost like we're fine-tuning that frequency. And when we show up in that way that we're completely fine-tuned, then that message that comes through is so clear. There's no static, there's no interruption. It is so clear. And then in that space, it's almost like a miracle that everything flows. So yeah, it feels like magic. And I think it's actually supposed to be easy. I think we make it too hard.
That's right, and it's fascinating because isn't it that quality you just described is what many leaders dream of being able to facilitate and transmit. And yet you said earlier, if you go through it by your head, you can't. So there's a whole other way of entering into that, which is what we are sharing with the leaders on the Leadership Quest. Yes, that's great, thank you.
So can I ask you about the Leadership Quest?
Yes.
Because this is something, wisdom that's really been part of your life's journey. So if you can share a little bit how the Leadership Quest actually came together, or your experience of it and your call to it.
Yes, thank you. Well, for me, if we want to really develop our full human potential, that is a rite of passage. That is an initiation in itself. And in the ancient times, our ancestors knew that, and they facilitated that really purposefully. And somehow in this mechanistic world, we really lost touch with that. And then yet we wanted to develop all these characters of influence, of impact, of conviction, in what I've often felt was a really artificial way. So what I noticed that when we're looking at our human development and our organizational development, we've completely discarded the ancient ways in which we would grow communities, in the ancient ways in which we would develop our vision. And my own personal quest brought me back to these ancient maps and ancient ways and ancient practices. So I took many, many, many years to really explore that journey and go into the kind of landscapes of our deep collective unconscious, where all the conventional maps fail. They don't exist there. They don't help you. What we commonly know, what we commonly expect, in the way our mind is also conditioned and set, it's not going to guide you through. And so it's through that quest that I learned to surrender and to really listen for something deeper, a deeper intelligence of life. And this is where I felt when I was looking at the future, and I'm looking at the world in which we are now, I noticed that just like with a quest, the maps that we have right now and the way we try to navigate our way through isn't preparing us. It's not helping us. It's not helping us to sail that course to where we need to go. So we are, from how I'm experiencing that, going through one of the biggest collective rites of passage, where there's an opportunity for us as humanity, by reconnecting with the ancient wisdoms, but at the same time with new evolutionary potentials, that you can source your leadership and also your humanity in a way that is, many have lost touch with, sadly, but it doesn't have to be like that. You know? It's always here, and we can reconnect with that and strengthen that. But it's almost like, you know, there's many muscles we have in the body, but we need to exercise it, we need to work with it to develop it and to bring it forth. It's the same with our wisdom. Wisdom is not something that just belongs to people with grey hair when they're old or about to die.
Yeah, it's not something you acquire from the outside.
No, and it's also not something that you only acquire it by falling over and over and over again. That would be very cruel. Yeah, for me, wisdom is our innate nature. But most of the time, we're not in touch with our innate nature. We're not seeing that, and so we're not really accessing the full potentials that are here. And to me, this is, if you want to be a leader in a way that you want to support people and organizations to flourish and to set a very clear course for where we can go, then it's really important that you know how to access that field and your own inner wisdom and the wisdom of life. Because then what you just shared earlier, this is like magic that comes forth, where it naturally aligns, where there's this amazing coherence and congruence. And this is what people sense. And the sense of trust in others, or the sense of, you know, trust in themselves, is when somewhere within themselves kind of lines up and it clicks, and it's this deep recognition that you go, yes, I may not know all the way, I may not know all the answers, but somewhere deep within me I know we're on the right direction, we're on the right track.